It is Friday, May 10th, and I'm back in Killarney, along with every single blackfly in Northern Ontario. Currently standing on the banks of of Bell Lake. And Vivian and I are about to head across to site 132, where we will be staying for 2 nights. And tomorrow, Saturday, we plan on hiking Silver Peak. So that's a good jump-off site to paddle over to the trail that leads to the peak itself. So we're coming up on 11 a.m. in the morning, and I am gonna have to get going because these bugs are thick as thieves. We're gonna load the canoe, head out in the lake, and I'll check in again from the campsite. All right, here we go. We are camped at site 132 in Killarney Park. And for those that know, that is the site that is closest to Silver Peak. And in fact, that's what's brought us up here this weekend. We wanted to get out here ahead of the blackflies and spend the day tomorrow, Saturday, hiking the peak, and then chill out Sunday before we do the short paddle home. It's the first paddle of the season, and it wasn't a far one, but man, is it nice to get the paddle back in the water. And it's been a pretty great day, overcast with some wind, but nothing we couldn't handle. And the short paddle in is probably only half an hour or so. So we've got camp set up, the tarps, the bug shelter, which is a must this weekend, and the tent, of course. And Viv's just having a nap, and she'll be getting up shortly, and we'll be starting on dinner. It's around 4:37, and it's been a great day. It's just been a whole bunch of chill out and a whole bunch of setup and a whole bunch of filming. So we may have some bad weather in the forecast for tomorrow, but we'll have to see how that pans out. Anyway, we're going to get started on dinner soon and take a little break inside the tent from filming from all these black flies, which are just starting to bite, but they're not shy about getting in your eye, nostril, ears, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, spring in the park. coming up on 9:30 now, and since 4:30, Viv and I have just been running around here, getting camp set up, collecting wood, cutting wood, tightening all the tarp lines, and getting our bedding and such organized in the tent. Tomorrow's going to be an early start for us when we climb Silver Peak, and we wanted to make a clean getaway without having to deal with too much stuff in the morning. But what an amazing evening it's been. The weather's been magnificent. It was windy and blustery early evening, and then it's quieted down quite substantially, and the bugs, they are gone. And this afternoon was borderline insanity. There were so many bugs. All black flies, some biting, but not very hard, and no mosquitoes, so that's been a blessing. Anyway, Viv's down at the lake with Mason checking out blue hour. The color of the lake and the trees is amazing right now. I was down there about an hour ago, and the sun was just setting, eclipsed by Silver Peak, and you could see the shadow line like a guillotine just shaving down the tree line until it reached the water. That was a pretty cool thing to watch. Anyway, I'm going to head down to the lake now and see what she's up to, and I think that's going to be it for me tonight. We want to get an early start tomorrow, so bed is going to be not far off for the both of us. Wow. Good morning. Coming up on 6:30 now, and I've been up for about an hour. Wanted to get up a bit early this morning so I could record some birdsong, which was very vocal, but since then it's actually become a lot more amplified, which is nice as well. Viv got up about an hour after I did, and we're both enjoying our coffees. She's down by the lake taking in the sights and the sounds there, and I'm puttering around up here getting our stuff together for our short paddle but long hike to Silver Peak, and that's what today is all about. We'll be leaving in about an hour or so and paddling a short half-hour distance maybe to the put-in or take-out for Silver Peak. From there, it's about a 5.5-kilometer hike to the top, and then retracing our steps on the way down. The weather is questionable today. There's rain in the forecast, but the sky looks good now. Hopefully it holds off long enough for us to get the hike done without getting too soggy. That's the plan for today, so better get to it. Here she is. We've just left the campsite and we're heading to the takeout or put in for Silver Peak. It's about a 20-minute paddle and we're halfway there or so. The black flies have followed us from the campsite. They gave us a break in the morning, but they came back with a vengeance the minute we put the paddles in the water. But we did find that they were worse by the water than they were in the woods, so hopefully they won't bother us too much on our hike. But man, oh man, this is a beautiful little paddle. Gets tight at the end. Okay, babe. I've got the canoe up on the canoe racks, and we just got to grab our gear and start the hike. How you feeling?
Excited.
All right, let's get her going.
Which way are we going?
Yeah, follow that path. Babes, looks like we're the only canoe here today. Whew. And on we go. just taking a pit stop at the dog leg leading from the Flat Trail to the Silver Peak Trail. And we're just dipping some PB&J in some water and getting dressed for the weather. It's raining. Looks like it's here to stay. The rain appears to have deterred the bugs that are now barely non-existent, which is great. Anyway, we're going to finish our little snack here and start on that climb. Mason has caught view of a deer, which is at the bottom of this valley. I don't know if it's going to come through on camera. He's behind some trees. He's staring right up at us. Well, we made it to the top of the peak, and it's been raining on and off, sometimes hard, but I mean, it's been a decent rain. We're wet, we're cold, hands are cold. So we didn't get to spend as much time on the peak as we wanted to, but we got some shots, and now we're turning around and beginning the 5-kilometer hike back to the canoe. Hopefully we don't have to paddle back in the rain, but it is what it is. So Viv's gone ahead with Mason, and I'm bringing up the rear. But I'm gonna get going because I can hear more rain coming. We are back from Silver Peak and in the comfort of our bug shelter with all of our soaking clothing drying overhead. What started off as a great day after a night of spectacular northern lights turned into a soggy mess starting at about
10:30.
Yeah, and we're coming up on 9 p.m. now and the rain hasn't stopped. After it did start, we got our ponchos and our rain gear on. But, you know, soggy conditions, slippery rocks, frigid temperatures at the top with the wind, and, you know, the wet hands and everything else just being wet. And then on the way down, a couple of mishaps. How many wipeouts?
3 wipeouts.
Yeah.
No injuries. Several close calls.
Yeah, I had a few of those on the back of your heel where your knee wants to fold the other way. That's always a lot of fun. But the real superstar of the show today was Mason. For a dog that's coming up on 10 years old, I was worried he was going to be able to make this hike. He's done it twice previously, but, you know, he's getting older. He ran up and he ran down. He was waiting for us. Such delight on this guy's face. Soaking wet, didn't matter. Of course, he's passed out now, but we also passed out for a couple hours in the tent when we got back because we were so cold and so wet. But the rain is still raining, and we should probably get started on dinner before it gets too late. But tonight will be an early to bed for us, and we're going to cross our fingers for sunnier weather tomorrow so we don't wake up in these wet conditions, and so that we can have a pleasant paddle back to the put-in. So that'll be it for us for tonight, and catch you in the morning. coming up on 8:30 here, and I've been up since about 6. Vivian and Mason are still crashed in the tent. And this morning was extremely misty, which is to be understandable after all that rain we had yesterday. And taking a look at Silver Peak earlier this morning, you could barely see the peak of it. It was shrouded in mist or fog or whatever. Since that time, the birds have really woken up, and there's some kind of gull that might be an Arctic tern that's been making the rounds out front, plunging down, sounding like a beaver, pulling up fish, flying off. But we got lucky last night. At about 11 o'clock, the rain finally stopped. And we had some hardwood stuffed under the tarp, and we pulled it out, and we had a glorious fire for probably an hour and a half last night, and then got to bed, I don't know, around midnight or 12:30 or so. Great sleep, despite the fact we still felt pretty soggy. And today it's going to be a short paddle out for us. But man, I love getting up early in the mornings and just listening to all of that, seeing all of this. The changes that happen between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. are really quite remarkable. Well, we're coming up on 10 past 11, and it's time for us to head back. This weekend has really been phenomenal. Felt like a canoe trip, even though it was such a short distance, because we had the hike to Silver Peak, of course, with all that rain and wind. And then that campfire late at night when we least expected it, and then the beautiful morning this morning with the sandhill cranes and the Arctic terns and all the other bits of life coming to life in the forest. So never a bad day up here in Killarney. Thrilled to have come and can't wait to come back. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one.